It was financially stable at one point.
Yeah.
ABC 7's Building a Better Bay Area reporter Leanne Melendez is here with an explanation of just how we got to this point.
Right. You know, and this didn't happen overnight, obviously. Right. This has been brewing for some time now, and everybody should know that for years there has been a so-called culture of mismanagement and even, some say, intimidation in the district that has kept people and issues in the dark. So we are going to report on what we know, what people have told us, because parents deserve to know. So fasten your seatbelts, because it's a lot.
The school district is facing some serious financial challenges.
We need support.
Closing schools in San Francisco will not save money.
It's harder to staff our schools.
There's no doubt that we have some tough decisions to make.
To understand the chaos throughout the San Francisco school district, let's start with the central office, the people who run the day-to-day business operation. And here is information not known until now.
All of those systems that are right now, unfortunately, are run by one or two senior people. They don't have enough staff there.
Maria Sue was recently appointed by Mayor London Breed to lead a city team that would help stabilize things at the district. What we do know is that during the pandemic, some senior staff left or retired.
I retired on July 1st in 2020.
Susan Saunders, a principal at the time, told us some of the district's problems stem from what many refer to as a disconnect between the schools and the central office.
I think it's just trust, and I think it's still there, that lack of trust is still there. I think what people at school sites are asking for is make us part of the conversation too. Let's be solution oriented and work together.
An example is the lack of information when the district chose to delay the announcement of school closures.
So I think we need to do a better job of explaining our budget crisis and then why school closures fit into our picture of addressing this budget crisis.
This budget crisis is due in part by some families deciding to leave San Francisco public schools through the years, meaning schools continue to miss out on millions of dollars from the state.
We wouldn't be in this financial crisis if we hadn't lost so many students. Now, I think a lot of that has to do as a parent who went through this process with how long it took to reopen schools after COVID.
The current superintendent.
I don't know, man. Who is running the government over here in San Francisco is the question I got. Honestly, who is running the mayor's office? Who's the mayor? Who's the city council? Who's in the township? Who's running the school committee? Who's running all this stuff? Who's the principal of these schools? I think it's ran pretty garbage over there, honestly. For them to have schools failing and for them to have schools losing funding, I don't know if you could just blame that on people leaving. People leaving is because they don't have the school funding, because they don't want to bring their kids to this type of school, which should be understandable. If your kid is going to school and they're coming back home and they saying they don't even know what they learned today, that's an issue. That's an issue. If we're dealing with schools and the teachers don't even have a voice to voice their opinion to the people who are running the schools, that's an issue. So I would really like to know who is running this stuff in San Francisco.
Matt Wayne was not there at the time. Vincent Matthews was. Instead of getting schools to reopen safely, some on the school board were focused on other matters they considered important, like trying unsuccessfully to rename schools and tearing down historic murals that some deemed insensitive. Former school board commissioner Gabriela Lopez was one of the school board members eventually recalled.
If I could have done anything to make that faster, to improve the timeline so that we can ensure schools are safe enough for people to go in, absolutely I would have. I think because it was the pandemic and there is such a bureaucratic process, it's difficult to make those moves. And then, we balanced that with the other discussions that were top of mind for a lot of people.
That delay also hurt the recruitment of teachers, adding to the shortage that already existed. A San Francisco civil grand jury found that according to 2020-21 data, SFUSD does not employ an adequate number of credentialed teachers to afford a quality education to all San Francisco students. Only 77% were credentialed. Karen Kennard was the foreperson of that grand jury.
We compared it with all of the Bay Area school districts, and the Bay Area districts generally have about 82% clear credentialed teachers, so San Francisco was lagging behind all of the other school districts in the Bay Area except for Alameda.
Another major revelation, SFUSD administrators were initially tight-lipped. In one of your findings, it says SFUSD administrators were reluctant to cooperate with this investigation. Could you tell us more about this?
Their administrators dodged us, refused to return phone calls, refused to return emails, and we finally had to get the city attorney involved.
Then came a flawed payroll system that cost the district $35 million and another $20 million to implement a new one, which should be up and running by July 2025.
Man, they are in some serious debt. Serious debt. When you in the double digits of millions in debt, you got a problem. You got a clear problem. Ain't nobody coming in. Ain't no money coming in. Teachers are upset. Schools are failing. Crime is up. It's a failing city over there. And it used to be beautiful. Honestly, you got the San Francisco Bridge. You got very different sceneries in San Francisco that are very, very, very popular. But it doesn't seem like that is attracting tourists. It doesn't seem like that is attracting people that want to live there. I know California is expensive in general, but this does not make it any better. I wouldn't want to bring my kids and put them in this type of environment. They're gonna end up failing. They're gonna be failures. And I'm not trying to put that on the teachers only. I'm trying to put it on the parents too. You don't want to put your kids into a public system that's failing. Of course they're going to be failures. I hope it's not going to be that bad. I hope that they can turn this around, but from the looks of it, they need help, and they need help immediately. They need help now. What are they going to do about this is the question.
And now the latest example of a mismanaged system is an additional $30 million that was needed to hire more special education teachers for this year. $30 million that was not initially in the budget. A crisis that even the district admits was created by the central office.
Principals were trying to hire these positions and the budgeted money was not there.
As a result, when schools started last August, the district could not hire the extra special education teachers needed because the funds were not in the budget.
We failed our students at the beginning of the year.
The district has since found the money to hire some special ed teachers using one-time funds, but there are still vacant positions.
We need to know who made that decision and who broke the law on behalf of the school district, because there needs to be accountability.
And now also unsettling is the city's proposal to use $8.4 million left over from the Student Success Fund to begin stabilizing the district. That did not sit well with some members of the Board of Supervisors.
That money is supposed to be used to get students achieving academically and healthy in their mind, body, and spirit. And the precedent that is setting is scaring the life out of me.
But Maria Sue suggested that the money would go towards hiring much-needed paraprofessionals and helping families whose schools will be closing.
Could we use some of these dollars to support schools and young people, children, and families who are going to transition from a closing school to a welcoming school? I feel like all of these things do fall within the scope of the Student Success Fund.
I'm sorry, I've never heard that one, man. Students transferring from a closing school to a welcoming school. I've never heard that. I've never had to experience that, and I feel bad for these kids because now they gotta start brand new. Gotta get introduced to new kids, new students. Halfway throughout their semester, This is terrible. This is tragic. And then the kids got to adjust. Well, I don't know if it's going to happen actually midway through or right now, because this is brand new. But I don't know if this is going to happen effectively or if they're going to move this into next year, which would be a smart idea if you move it into next year, because you got to give the parents some time to adjust also. What if some of the parents can't bring their kids to this certain school and they don't have the transportation now to get their kids to that school? It's a much longer drive, a much longer distance. Or what if the kids are going into a school that pretty much has a terrible reputation? You don't want to put your kids in that type of school either, where the kids are fighting constantly. There's no order. There's no curriculum over there that is teaching your kids the way you want them to learn. I mean, it's a garbage situation that this city is going through right now. And my solution, honestly, for the government of California is to step in, obviously, give some funding to the teachers, get the teachers to be happy, and the teachers will gladly do their job. Honestly, education should be a top priority in these major cities, especially cities like San Francisco, where they're dependent on the future kids to come and build their city back up. Education should be. Police should be a priority. Get the crime off the streets, clean up the streets, bring businesses back into your towns. Small businesses, big businesses, starting up medium-sized businesses. Bring them into your city so people have stuff to come and do when they get to your city. Don't just depend on the government to just pay everything and y'all not expect to be in debt. Y'all are going to be in debt, especially if people are leaving the cities. So my good opinion, I think it's a good opinion. I hope it's a good opinion. My opinion would be to incentivize these teachers, incentivize these business owners, to stay in your city, and it'll all work out. Honestly, if you have happy teachers, if you have teachers that are doing their job and they're happy and they're not complaining, and they got good kids that are actually listening, that have good listening skills and work skills, and they're learning the curriculum that they need to learn to be successful, you have a good situation. But if you have a school that is chaotic and chaos is everywhere and teachers are leaving, teachers are demanding more pay, teachers aren't getting enough help, they feel overwhelmed, of course it's going to be a failing situation. Let me know your thoughts about this, man.
Question now is, how can families ever trust the district to finally get things right?
We're working incredibly hard to rebuild the trust with our community. So I think we're doing what we can to lay out, here's the situation we're facing, and let's work through it together.
And more importantly, how do we never get to this place ever again?
Absolutely.
Now, the people from the city, like Maria Sue, are not getting paid extra for their work with the school district. Now, the head of Rec and Park, Phil Ginsburg, is also on that team. He is a father of 2 former SFUSD students, and he believes in helping the district in this time of need. They, for years, have been in denial with regard to the money and so forth. And for instance, when we would say, you know, you don't have enough students, you're losing families, they would say, put a kind of spin on it. And it was almost like saying, hey, the Titanic is sinking, but we have the band playing over here. You see? So that was a problem for years. But now they're finally admitting we have a problem because...
Hey, at least they know that they have a problem and they got to get it under control immediately. This is not a good look for San Francisco. I'm believing that this is going to push even more people out of San Francisco. And they have a lot of work to do to rebuild their cities, rebuild their schools, not focus on these little issues that really aren't going to solve anything, but the bigger issues. Really lock in on those issues and get back your community, man. Get back your schools. Get back the trust in the people. Because the leadership right now it's failing. Clearly, it's failing. It's a failing situation. But let me know y'all thoughts about this down in the comments below. This is kind of why I don't like public schools. I'd rather just, work extremely hard to keep my kids in a private school. And they don't have to deal with this exact situation. But let me know y'all thoughts about this down in the comments below. Make sure you guys leave a like on the way out. Hit that subscribe button if y'all are new too, man. Until next time.